Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Hello, everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about Predator Badlands. That is our main topic and full spoilers. We've also got a On Beat segment where we're going to talk about one news story and 5 trailers. And then we've also got a On the Horizon segment where we're going to talk about what's coming up in the next week or so. And that's where we're going to kick things off with our On the Horizon segment.
On the Horizon. On the Horizon.
First up on the horizon, the 98th Annual Academy Awards is airing on Sunday, March 15th on ABC, hosted by Conan O'Brien.
Yeah,
fun.
Hosted by Conan O'Brien, but did you see the other announcement?
What was the other announcement?
The awards are going to be announced by Matt Berry this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so you did see that. Yeah, that's awesome, I thought. I thought that was really cool. It's wild to me when I saw that because it's like this actor that I originally saw on like this random obscure short-lived British comedy show that was airing reruns on Cartoon Network Adult Swim is now announcing the Oscars.
Talking about Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
Yes. I was like, that's wild to me. How far up Matt Berry has come, but that's really cool.
Gotta give it up to Jackie Daytona.
Yes, exactly, Jackie Daytona.
I'm watching it for Conan. That's a cool bonus as well. But there's also, I heard Conan said something about like they're doing a few kind of stunt things with like, I don't know if it's just presenters or skits or something, but they said something about, I think that like a Marvel reunion and some other stuff where they're gonna have people together. It might just be like when they had like Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger on stage, you know? Like
right,
just like they're presenting an award or something. Two people that we haven't seen together in a while.
Yeah,
it might be something like that, but I heard there were a few like fun stunt things that were going to happen, so that's kind of cool. When I mean say stunt, I don't mean like a physical stunt. I mean like, you know, stunt as in they engineered getting certain people on stage.
They're going to have Will Smith and Chris Rock present an award together.
For best slap.
For best, yeah.
But yeah, so that's coming on Sunday, March 15th on ABC. Invincible, it's returning for its 4th season on Wednesday, March 18th on Amazon Prime. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Steel Ball Run is coming on Thursday, March 19th to Netflix. This is a big deal for JoJo fans. They've been waiting for this specific arc for quite a while. Crimson Desert, which is kind of the, like, what the fuck is happening video game that everyone's been talking about off and on for the last couple months.
Yeah, this one I'm really interested in. This is like a very big budget game. Like, it's like graphically, it's incredible. Apparently, like, the scope is like massive.
Yeah.
I saw there's like over 400 quests in the game.
I think this is pretty much guaranteed to be the first Game of the Year contender of the year.
Yeah, assuming that they nail it, you know, like,
yeah. But from everything we've seen so far, game's going to be a pretty big deal, and that's coming on Thursday, March 18th to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Jury Duty presents Company Retreat, which is a, like, spin-off kind of a sequel, follow-up to Jury Duty, which was a kind of a quasi-prank reality TV show where there's like one guy who was on a jury and everybody else, including the judges, all the people on the stand, everybody, the lawyers, the other jurors are all actors. But the follow-up to that, Company Retreat, is coming on Friday, March 20th to Amazon Prime. Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, which is like a movie follow-up to Peaky Blinders with Cillian Murphy's back and everything. And that's coming on Friday, March 20th to Netflix. Project Hail Mary is coming to theaters on Friday, March 20th, as is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, also on Friday, March 20th to theaters. Those I'm looking forward to the most, I think, from this whole list.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary and Ready or Not 2, but Invincible is way up there too. But good week.
Oh yeah. Good week for entertainment.
Yep. That's it for our On the Horizon segment, and now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat. On Beat is our news segment. We've got one news story and 5 trailers to go over. There were so many trailers this week. I had to prune things in advance. I think you and I pruned it from 9 down to 5, but even before you got to those 9, I had pruned it down from I think 30.
I saw I checked the trailers this afternoon. You had 22 on the playlist.
Yeah. You're like, oh, he hasn't pruned them yet.
Oh, yeah. I saw that and I was just like, nope, coming back later. I know there isn't going to be 22 trailers I have to watch, and I'm not going to guess which ones he's going to keep.
A little behind the scenes, any trailer that pops up, basically, that I see, I'll look for trailers I'll search for trailers on YouTube, and I also look in multiple places. I just add them all to the playlist, and then periodically I'll check in and eliminate ones. I'll watch them and go oh no, I'll cut this one. I'll cut this one. Or whatever. Sometimes you'll get a trailer on there that's there's no way we would have ever discussed this, so why is it on a trailer? So it's just because I didn't know what it was. I just added it, and it hadn't eliminated it yet. But we got 5 trailers to go over, and like I said, one news story. News story is kind of a big one, and that is that we're getting a King Conan movie. It's in development with Christopher McQuarrie is going to be directing. He directed the last 4 Mission Impossible movies. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger is reprising as Conan.
Yeah, this is pretty big to come up again. This is something that has come up over and over again through the years.
Yeah.
This idea is kind of Hollywood has been trying to do King Conan with Arnold Schwarzenegger forever.
They had to wait for him to be, 80?
Yeah, they had to wait for him to be 80, yeah. It's probably what happened sooner if he wasn't governor. But yeah, they've been trying to get a King Conan movie to happen forever, and it just hasn't happened for one reason or the other. And now it's looking okay, it looks like there's movement on another attempt, and maybe this will happen this time.
It's kind of not even, it's big news, but it's kind of not even surprising anymore, because we've been getting so many of these impossible dream scenario movie return type things. Top Gun, Maverick. That was what the fuck,
Yeah.
Even TV shows like Cobra Kai following up Karate Kid, and we've had so many things where it's just who would have ever thought this came back? I think it kind of started with, if I was to put it where the trend started, what wouldn't be the first thing that ever did this, but where the trend started, maybe Twin Peaks Returns. Maybe. It's the one that was okay, this is the idea of something so impossible that nobody would have ever expected to is happening.
Right. Oh yeah.
King Conan is one of those where it's I can't believe this is actually happening, but I'm not surprised anymore because it's so much of this kind of stuff is happening now. I'm just waiting for Goonies 2 now.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Goonies 2, yeah.
And by that I mean an adaptation of the video game Goonies 2.
Oh yeah. Video game Goonies 2, which is interesting. There is a video game Goonies 1, but that only came out in Japan. The Goonies 2 is a sequel to Japan-only video game based on the Goonies 1. And when I was a kid, that confused the hell out of me, because there's the movie The Goonies, and then there was the video game, The Goonies 2, and I was okay, there's no Goonies 2 movie, there's no Goonies 1 video game. What's happening?
Yeah. That was the impossible dream. It was oh, they're gonna make a new Goonies movie. It was but that's never gonna happen. And now it's I would not be surprised.
Right.
It's we're getting so much of the stuff that we would have never thought possible that it's yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either. Also have to know, this wasn't the only thing Schwarzenegger mentioned. He also mentioned in the same breath, in the same conversation, that in addition to King Conan being in development, he has been in talks with Dan Trachtenberg about returning to the Predator franchise, and that there is a Commando 2 script that has been written for him.
Yeah. Commando 2's, that would be interesting, because that was one of his less popular movies.
Right, yeah.
From that era. I mean, I say less popular, it was still a big movie. It was just, he was the biggest thing in the world at the time,
Right.
But yeah, Predator makes sense, because he did have a quasi cameo in the animated one, Killer of Killers at the end of that.
Killer of Killers, yeah, which showed that they were thinking about it.
Yeah.
And the fact that he confirms that he's been talking to Dan Trachtenberg, who is now basically the head guy of the Predator franchise over at Fox. He did the last 2 Predator movies, one of which we're going to talk about very shortly.
I think if they do a return for Schwarzenegger and Predator, they need to bring back Danny Glover, too.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be awesome.
I think he's retired, so you'd have to bring him out of retirement.
Danny Glover. He'd just come back and say, I'm too old for this shit, and then...
that's like his signature line.
Yeah, I'm too old for this shit. Leave this movie. This time he would be like, I'm too old for this shit. Literally.
He's like, I am way too old for this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he gets on like a scooter and drives off set. But yeah, that's King Conan movie in development. Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it. It's been like one of those it's been one of those fantasy projects in Hollywood forever, so we'll see.
It's also not only because of the whole like bringing back these old franchises kind of thing that we were talking about. Like we said, we wouldn't be surprised if there was a Goonies sequel announced not too long or something. It's not just that, because Conan also kind of represents a kind of movie that's basically extinct, which is that like 80s like dark fantasy.
Yeah. Specifically dark fantasy was like huge in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's gone now. Like it just does not exist.
Yeah,
and so the idea of that's kind of exciting too. Just that part alone, it's like, ooh, yeah, that bring back dark fantasy. That's interesting.
I'm kind of surprised, like with the resurgence and popularity of like fantasy from like the time the Lord of the Rings movies came out to like Game of Thrones, like that whole boom. In that span of time, like nobody's attempted to do a dark fantasy.
Yeah, I think they were all going for, this is the actual genre name, grimdark.
Yeah.
Which is what like kind of Game of Thrones falls under,
Right,
it's like the idea of like, okay, in grimdark, it sounds like it's very parallel to dark fantasy, but they're really nothing alike. Like, dark fantasy is like very high fantasy.
Yes, it is very high fantasy,
And grimdark is like, it's almost more like you're watching a historical movie that's gritty and real and absolutely brutal about like the Middle Ages, but there also happens to be like magical shit happening.
So like Game of Thrones is much, much more rooted in realism than like your typical high fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's very, very different genres, but it's like, I think that kind of took the cake for where fantasy was heading once Game of Thrones became popular. Is everybody was like, okay, well, we can't just do fantasy. We need grimdark fantasy and stuff, I'm surprised we haven't gotten, there's a book series that's very popular, by Joe Abercrombie that's like a very, like The Subtle Knife is the first one. I can't remember the name of the series right now, but it's like a very grimdark fantasy series, and it's super popular, and it would work really well as like either movies or a TV show. I'm kind of surprised that didn't happen with the Game of Thrones rush. But yeah, it's weird because there was a big push when Game of Thrones came out to make all these fantasy projects, and then it kind of died down. But Game of Thrones kept going because of like House of the Dragon and now Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and now there's like another fantasy rush happening. So it's kind of crazy, Like I'm wondering what we're going to get out of this one now. I mean, we got that Brandon Sanderson deal we talked about like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Apple making that big Brandon Sanderson play.
Yeah, that's going to be huge,
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not just like the scope of the individual project, but just that's a lot of projects. It's not like one project. It's like a bunch of projects, So it'll be interesting to see kind of what we end up getting from this new wave of like fantasy inspired stuff. And if we're getting King Conan, I wonder if that is going to bring back dark fantasy, like that 80s style dark fantasy, like over the top. That would be like a completely different wrinkle that we haven't seen in ages.
Yeah, I think it'd be like very refreshingly different.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Let's move on to trailers now. We've got 5 to go over. First up, our good old pal Adam Scott from Parks and Recreation showing up in a new horror film. He's done like a few little like kind of horror films here and there. He did like the Krampus movie, I know, for example.
The Krampus movie. Yeah. Which, like I've seen it. That's like more of a comedy or like.
It's like horror comedy, right?
Horror comedy. Yeah. Has like a comedic bent to it. This one looks to be like straight horror.
This is like folklore ghost story horror. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like very atmospheric, creepy horror, like less like blood and gore horror and more like just bad vibes throughout the entire movie.
It's kind of like, think of the Japanese horror boom of stuff like The Ring, but like Irish.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it looks really good. I was like really impressed with the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Hokum. Yeah. Ooh, it looks creepy as hell.
Speaking of horror, we got another horror, Obsession. So this is like Monkey Paw the movie.
This is more down-to-earth horror. It has a supernatural element to it, but it's basically the, be careful what you wish for. You might get it. And it centers on this guy who's a hopeless romantic. He has a crush on this woman, and he has this cursed object, the One Wish Willow, it's called, which is like a branch of a willow tree. And it's like professionally wrapped. It's like he bought it at a store. And he snaps it in half. He makes a wish. He wishes that she would love him, and then she does. But it's like this really twisted, obsessive love.
Yeah, it's like Fatal Attraction love.
Yeah, it's like Fatal Attraction love, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she boils a bunny at some point in the movie type love, you know?
Right, yeah. So everything goes to hell, pretty much. And yeah, it's a Monkey's Paw movie. It's the old addendum where, like, if you're offered a wish by some supernatural force, it's never going to go well or how you expect it to.
Yeah, be very, very careful of your wishes, people.
Yes, exactly.
If any of our, 3 listeners find a secret object that allows you to make a wish, be very careful about that wish.
Be very, very careful with your wishes, yes.
Some people learn their lesson about the dangers of AI from movies like Terminator. I learned the lesson of the danger of wishes. Next up, we got a trailer for In the Gray. This is the new Guy Ritchie movie with a awesome pairing that I would have never thought of.
Yeah, it's a really cool pairing. Yeah, like Henry Cavill.
And Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen them in a movie together before.
If they have been, it escapes me. I just don't know.
I can't think of one. So this might actually be the first on-screen appearance together. Mm-hmm. But it looks like a Guy Ritchie movie. It looks like a lot of fun. They play like these group of spies who are like basically trying to recover billions of dollars for some other people.
It's an interesting pairing, I think, because both of them are so capable. And usually when you get these kind of pairing movies like this, you get like one of two things. One is that the two people are like almost identical. They're just like two big buff guys or something. Like Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista, you know? And that one movie. Or John Cena and Idris Elba. Even though Idris Elba is not as big, like he's still a big guy, you know? Or you get like the odd couple pairing where you have like The Rock and Kevin Hart or something like that.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
Exactly. Like the odd couple pairing, you know? Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, you know? Just an odd pairing, you know? But this, you have people that are kind of different, but they're both like capable. Henry Cavill is just a big guy. But then you have like Jake Gyllenhaal and he's like an athlete. He's got like an athlete's build, you know?
Yeah.
And so they're both like very capable action-y type people, but they're like not the same type of action-y type people, which makes it like kind of an interesting pairing. And they're also both fantastic actors that were good actors outside of all the action stuff, even before the action stuff kind of became their career trajectories. So, interesting pairing, and in a Guy Ritchie film just makes it like even, that's just like the extra little chef's kiss.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, so that's In the Gray. Next up, we got The Boys. Got a new trailer for The Boys.
The final season.
Yeah.
This basically gives away like a lot of the plot. Homelander, having seized absolute power, is now looking to cement it with immortality. Mm-hmm. He awakens Soldier Boy, which is funny. And then like one noteworthy thing is like at the end of the trailer, we get a Supernatural reunion. We get to see Jensen Ackles' Soldier Boy meet up with the two characters played by Jared Padalecki and Misha Collins.
Yeah.
Don't know who they are in the show, but it's fun to see like those three in a scene together again.
We talked about a previous trailer for this season. Jared Padalecki is either playing a superhero of some sort or he's playing like an actor playing a superhero of some sort. Because we saw him in a costume, you know?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, you're right.
Misha, I have no idea.
Yeah. And also in the scene, we see like Soldier Boy is holding Misha Collins' character by the neck. So they're not best friends.
Castiel and Dean are having a falling out.
Again.
Yeah.
In another universe. Crazy.
Yeah. But The Boys, like, oh God. I used to be so excited for this show, and I think it was even as early as season 2, after finishing season 2. Now I go into every season with like trepidation. Like I'm excited, but like nervous at the same time.
I am fairly high on this season just because
it's the final season. So no more treading water?
Yeah, like, there's no excuse to tread water at this point. You know, unless, like, they think they're gonna, like, save Homelander for, like, Gen V or some shit. Which is like, okay, well, that sucks. Unless they're thinking, like, oh, we need to save stuff for, like, the spin-off we have still going. Like, there should be, like, no trepidation. There should be, like, just do the things.
Yeah. Interesting because, like, I haven't read the comics, but I've seen things from it. I'm like, aware of certain aspects of the comics. I know kind of where it goes. And where the comics go kind of is impossible with the way that they took the show now. But there were some shots in the trailer that are, like, straight out of, like, the final act of the comics.
Right, yeah.
Like him sitting in like, the Oval Office.
Yeah.
That's straight out of the, it's almost like an exact copy of, like, the comic panel, you know? Makes me, like, curious, like, in which way they're gonna approach this, because, like I said, the way the comic ended is kind of impossible for them to do now, because they made certain changes.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I'm curious to see where they're going with that, too.
Because it looks like they're still chasing that ending in some way, but it's gonna have to come about through different circumstances.
Right.
That's my best to avoid spoilers while talking about it. But that's The Boys. We also got a new trailer and a direct, so we'll talk about the casting announcements that were in the direct as well. But we got a new trailer for Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yeah. And how many references did you spot in the trailer? Please, like, name them all.
Oh, Jesus. Let me get my list of 1,000 things.
Yeah, this trailer was pretty rapid fire. There was a lot of stuff that we've already seen in previous trailers.
Mm-hmm. Some stuff longer, though. Like, some stuff it was like as blink and you miss it moment in a previous trailer, and now you actually get it kind of more expounded upon, you know?
Although there's some new stuff in here. We saw the Super Mario Bros. 2 characters, including Wart, who is the main antagonist of Mario Bros. 2.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't show up often. It's cool to see him. It was announced that Wart is being played by Luis Guzman, which happy about. I like Luis Guzman. He's fun. I don't think it amounts to anything more than like a cameo, because I think like that scene is like, that's probably like one scene in the film, and then those characters are gone.
I imagine we've seen so many different set pieces from completely different games. I imagine we're going to have a lot of like, the characters move to this location, have like a little micro adventure along the way of their grander adventure, and then they move on to a different location.
Yes.
Kind of thing. And so we're going to get a lot of characters like that. We're going to have a lot of those kind of moments where we'll have like a cameo of a character and it's like, oh, they have a little moment, and then we move past it and go to a different area.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's going to be going at like a pretty breakneck pace. I think Miyamoto in the direct said something along the lines of, a lot happens, you know, it's going to be difficult to keep up.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like a road trip movie.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But not a real road, you know? Like
it's going to be a rainbow road. Rainbow road trip.
It's going to be a road trip movie in the sense that it's not going to stay anywhere for too long. It's just going to keep moving, you know? But yeah, Super Mario Galaxy movie. What are the other castings?
So the other castings that were revealed, it was revealed that Yoshi is being voiced by Donald Glover. That's the big one the internet is freaking out about.
Yeah, this is like Chris Pratt 2.0.
Yeah. The only other like new casting that was announced was Issa Rae. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
As Queen Bee from Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay. Like those three, like Luis Guzman, you know, like Donald Glover and Issa Rae. As far as I could tell, because like I didn't like really watch the direct either, but as far as I could like find online were like the only new cast announcements from the direct.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any more out there, please let us know, but I didn't see anything.
Yeah, but that's it for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Of course, we're excited for that. We're Nintendo fanboys. We're Mario fanboys, so
exactly.
Of course we're going to be excited for that, but we'll talk about that later after we've seen it. But now it's time to move on to our final segment, full spoilers. This week on Full Spoilers, we are talking about Predator Badlands. I watched this in theaters a couple months ago or something. You just got to see it now.
I just watched it today. I just watched it today.
So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this. Not necessarily like plot-wise, but like in the sense of there's a lot of like kind of controversy and debate over this movie. Some people are referring to this as the Disneyfication of Predator.
I don't know.
You got kind of a cute sidekick character.
Yeah, so I think that was like my biggest problem with the movie is
Bud,
not
the alien child.
Not really. I thought like it was weird. That definitely was weird. The whole like alien kid sidekick thing.
Yeah.
Like I was like, yeah, that definitely was weird. But like another problem I had was just Elle Fanning's character, the synthetic Thea.
Yeah, she actually played two characters.
Yeah, she plays Thea, and then she plays Tessa, who's
air quotes sister.
Air quotes sister, which really she's just like another synth that's based on Thea. Like all the synths look the same if they're like the same model. Mm-hmm. But like, and Tessa is actually this film's like primary antagonist. Turns out.
Yeah.
My problem with Thea though was they made her way too annoyingly talky. It's like somebody, I don't know, like who decided, oh, this movie needs constant running dialogue or else people are going to get bored. And I think it's come from that school of film design where, because I heard like Netflix, and this isn't a Netflix film, but it's the same principle where like Netflix there's gotta be characters like doing constant exposition and stuff because people are half watching movies and looking at their phone at the same time. And I really think Thea's constant like running dialogue is for people half watching the movie and looking at their phones. It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, what's the point? Unfortunately, it just like makes her character annoying. I still ended up liking Thea, but it was like...
It's either that or it's that they just don't trust the audience to be able to sit in silence.
Right. Yeah. You know? Because like it's...
Obviously Deck isn't that talkative.
Yeah, Deck isn't that talkative.
At least they didn't do that. At least they didn't make Deck talkative. That would have been weird.
Yeah, that would have been weird for like a writer. But
he was he had like said something and he turned around and said, "Oh, excuse me, princess."
But it's like any atmosphere, like any tension is blown out the window from like this character just constantly talking and narrating and explaining like literally every fucking thing to you every second of the movie.
The thing that makes this a tricky proposition is just that this is a Predator movie from the perspective of a predator.
Yeah, exactly. And this is like kind of thing, like this came up like in the initial trailers too, which I was kind of worried about. And it's like, nope, my fears about that were completely founded. They just, good lord, just let the movie breathe. Let there be like some atmosphere. Let there be some tension in like some spots, you know, like.
I was not expecting the cute alien sidekick character though.
I was not. Yeah. That was
the giant eyes. Yeah. Like.
That was like very like George Lucas, like Jar Jar Binks Ewoks moment.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like a jump the shark moment.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are upset about that. They're also upset that the movie's basically bloodless in the sense that we're used to because there's no humans in the entire movie.
Yeah,
there's synths, but there's no humans.
I'm fine with there not being. Here's the thing, though. I don't think there should have been a synths. I don't think so. I think the movie I would have made
is a more meditative journey.
A more meditative journey. It would have been just the Predator by himself, no android, no synths, going on this hunt against this like very intimidating creature and on this hostile alien world where everything's trying to kill him, and just having it be about that journey and like having to be every scene, every moment being like this tension
and then coming
pressure,
back
like
and having to confront his father.
And having to confront his father. It would have been very brutal. It would have been very R-rated. There wouldn't have been synths in it. There wouldn't have been humans in it. I think that would have made like a much better movie. And yeah, it really feels like I'm speculating, but I almost feel like that's the movie that Dan Trachtenberg had in mind. And then like Fox and Disney executives like start putting their hands all over it and like sanitized it and watered it down to be like, oh, this has to be like a 4-quadrant movie. So we need this character explaining everything to the audience. We need a cute little alien buddy.
I believe the movie's PG-13, which is a first for the franchise.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I watched it, like, I enjoyed it okay. I was like, yeah, it was a fun movie, but it had like so much more potential to be like something special that it just never like reaches. It's sad.
Yeah.
I thought like doing a movie with a predator as the actual protagonist was like really bold, but they could have made a much better movie with that.
It was simultaneously a fun movie.
Yes.
But also like deeply disappointing.
Yeah, it was empty and kind of thing where not gonna meditate on it much. Like after I watch it, it didn't like do anything for me. I'm not sitting here going, best Predator movie ever at the end of it.
It could have been like a fun little space adventure movie if it had nothing to do with Predator or Alien.
Right.
If none of those elements were there and it was just like some alien species on like a hunt on a dangerous planet and it kind of, but you didn't do it with like Predator or anything and you just kind of had like more free reign to just kind of go more wild with it. More like in a Star Wars type direction where you could have like multiple alien races that communicate with each other and stuff. And it's just kind of like a space adventure. Like I think it could have worked better as that, but those kind of movies just aren't made anymore. Everything's IP now. So they had to like hog tie some type of IP to it if they were going to do something like that. So it could have been this good like space movie unattached to any franchise, or it could be like a good Predator movie unattached to all the PG-13 Disneyfication stuff. And instead we got like a hybrid of those two.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a perfectly fine, fun movie to watch, but it's disappointing if you like the franchise. Because it's like, oh man, at least they didn't overly demystify the Yacha species, you know? That happens sometimes. I think they kind of did, like, overly demystify them in the animated movie. I like this a lot more than the animated movie, I think. I think the animated movie gets a pass because it's animated by a lot of people. I think a lot of people give it a pass because it's an animated movie. They forgive certain things that happen that are just, like, out of character for, like, the entire fucking species. And, like, just weird things that they put in because it's, like, a cool visual, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. And people just accepted that because, oh, it's animated. It's just an animated movie. And so they just, like, accepted that shit and weren't bothered by it. And meanwhile, you and I talked about that movie and we were, like, both going off about all the things that kind of bothered us about that. And then everybody, like, loved that movie and then they went into this and hated it because of the Disneyfication aspects. And I'm like, that kind of already started with Killer of Killers. Like, the kind of weird direction it took that was, like, outside of the tone and scope and style of a Predator movie. That already happened with Killer of Killers. And you can't put it, like, on Trachtenberg in general, too, because Prey felt like a Predator movie, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So, maybe it's kind of a monkey paw thing. We talked about monkey paw with one of the trailers we covered today, where it's like, people wanted a more popular Predator movie, a bigger budget Predator movie. Maybe this is the monkey paw of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I think they should just make Predator a video game franchise.
Yeah, right. We're Predator video games.
Yeah. Make it like a kind of survival horror Souls-like type game where you're like trying to get around in the world and you're being stalked, you know? Play on that aspect. But I don't know. I haven't liked the direction this franchise has gone in since Killer of Killers. And then I saw the trailer for this and I was like, it looks better than Killer of Killers, but I'm still like hesitant and stuff. And after having seen this, I like this movie a lot more than Killer of Killers, but it's like still that same kind of thing that I didn't like about Killer of Killers that's here, where it just feels like this isn't the franchise I knew.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's like completely different.
Yeah. Anything else to say? It was weird having a sympathetic Predator.
No, I like that. That was like the major part of the movie I did like.
It was weird though.
Yeah, it is weird. But like, I also like that reversal, you know. That's the hook. But yeah, I think I've said my piece on this film. It's a fun movie. It's a fun action adventure movie. I'd recommend people see it, but it's just like, it could have been so much more with like just some tweaks to it. And it just, for me, like, it's just a different kind of movie than what I would expect. Instead of like a tense action horror, you got this kind of like lighthearted action adventure sci-fi. Yeah, like a space romp. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting that we're getting this kind of revigoration of the Predator franchise through the lens of a single person. He's almost like, he's directed everything. So it's a little different, but it's almost like Dan Trachtenberg is like the Kevin Feige of Predator now. It's different because he's directed all of the things. He hasn't just like overseen them, but it is kind of almost like it feels like that. Like they're like, okay, we're just gonna make our Predator MCU now or something. And at the same time as all of that's going on, and even bringing in like alien things like Weyland-Yutani into this movie, at the same time, we got Alien Earth last year.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me, I listened to a podcast with Noah Hawley where they were talking about, is it going to cross over like the other way? And he mentioned he's all like, oh no, Dan Trachtenberg's got kind of his vision for what he wants to do, and we're not really communicating about any of that. Kind of makes me want to see like Noah Hawley's version of the Yacha, because I feel like might be better than what we're getting now.
I would like to see Noah Hawley play with the Predator franchise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like definitely, you know.
Yeah, I think it might be better. I mean, I had a few issues with Alien Earth as well. Like, I liked it, but there were a few things that were kind of like, this is a little weird, this is a little different, they're swinging in a little bit of a different way, you know?
Right, yeah. Like, I wasn't, like, in love with Alien Earth either, but, yeah.
It just makes me curious that Trachtenberg is dipping into alien lore with this movie by bringing in Weyland Yutani, and it makes me go like, what if Noah Hawley tapped into Predator lore, you know? What would happen there? But yeah, that's... Anything else to say about Predator Badlands?
No, I've said what I want to say.
Alright, so that is Predator Badlands, and that is our full spoiler segment, and that's it for our podcast. Next week, we are going to be talking about Season 2 of One Piece, which is currently available on Netflix. Will and I have already started, and we can't wait to discuss the full Season 2 next week, and we'll be doing that. So if you want to watch along with us, jump onto Netflix and watch that live-action One Piece. I think there's 8 episodes in Season 2, and I think 8 episodes in Season 1 as well, so if you're starting from the beginning, you can go there. We already covered Season 1 years ago when it first was on, but yeah, Season 2 looks good, and that's what we're going to be talking about next week, so stay tuned for that. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter on Blue Sky. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will on both those platforms. He is at Voxel Hero. You can check out our website, thetotalscreen.blogspot.com. If you go to our website and open up a container story for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all the relevant links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, our YouTube channel, all the stuff that's there. You can also subscribe to our podcast to your favorite podcast site of choice, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, and the entire backlog of our podcast, our entire 300 episode run of our old podcast, and additional stuff is available on our YouTube channel, so you can check that out as well. Thank you everybody for listening. Good night. Good night. Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.